right. All right, all right. We are going live. Live. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Live Q&A. Happy Black Friday. I'm super excited to be here with y'all. I am tuning in from my parents' house, which is quite the mess. As you guys can see. So hopefully there isn't too many distractions behind me. I hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. If you are tuning in on IG or on YouTube, hello, please let me know what your name is, where you're tuning in from. And I would love to start answering any questions that you guys have. I do have some plugs that I want to cover today, but this is my time to give to y'all about anything that you want to ask: spirituality, pregnancy, home, family life stuff. Yeah. Also, if I start jerking around, it's because my kid is kicking me in the ribs. He has his foot in my right rib cage right now, and it really fucking hurts. So if you guys see me just kind of freaking out and doing some weird shit, it's because my child is kicking me. So yeah, I am personally right now tuning in from my parents' house in the Woodlands, Texas, which is just an hour north of Houston. And it's been lovely, actually. I think most people are pretty, hey Daniel, what's up? Are you still in Georgia? I'm wondering where everybody is, where everyone is, because most of my friends are not visiting family. So I'm curious to see where everyone is. Got someone from Albany, New York. Sweet. So excited to have y'all here. So yeah, I have been creating content and also taking a lot of self-care. And this kid, I think, is growing at a really rapid pace. Nice. Yeah, I am also with my family here in Houston. Super. Isn't fun, actually. Honestly, everyone my roommate asked me last week, she was like, how do you spend a whole week with your family? I was like, well, I just don't let them say things that I don't like to talk about, because I'm real with them and honest with them, and that's why we have a really great relationship. But that's not how it was a couple years ago. A couple years ago, it was still very toxic and narcissistic and codependent, and a lot of my healing has come through in my ability to be honest with everyone. So I basically just tell my family how it is. If they say something that pisses me off, I'm like, hey, that's not cool. And then we move on, and everyone apologizes, and it's totally secure and safe and happy. And that is what doing the work of self-discovery kind of helps with. So I'll actually go into just the first plug, because in being here with my family, I've had a lot of time to work on content and also just kind of figure out what I want to offer. So last week I did a Q&A, and everyone who participated asked if I would do an affordable course that was also geared towards men and women, because right now the program that I had available was Sacred and Divine Goddesses, which is obviously geared towards women only. But I created a course that is called Embrace the Journey of Being You, which is all the foundations of everything that I teach in Sacred and Divine Goddesses. It doesn't teach all of the same concepts and techniques that I teach in that program. That one is a lot more in depth, and there's more videos, and the content is way deeper. But in Embrace the Journey of Being You, you get like the framework of everything. So there's a little mix of writing that you can read. There's some videos there. There's some meditations. There's also some flows that you can get access to through the free Facebook group. We have a lot of free yoga videos in there. But the course is only $111, which is way, way cheaper than what my Sacred and Divine Goddesses are. Hi, welcome and let me know where you're tuning in from if you're just joining. So yes, I created a self-discovery school in which Sacred and Divine Goddesses and Embrace the Journey of Being You are both housed. And because today is the first day that I'm launching that course, it's super packed with value. Like there's so much information. And it's today until I think December 1st at midnight. So like when the clock strikes 12 on December 1st, the discount code runs out. But if you use the discount code Black Friday 2020, I'll write it down here. You get, $89 off of the full price. And you get the whole entire course for life. Like once you buy it once, it never goes away. And it's only $22. So all you have to do, I don't know if you can see that, this looks like it's backwards. So if you go to self-discovery, one word, .school, so if you go to selfdiscovery.school, you can look for the course that's called Embrace the Journey of Being You, and then use this code Black Friday 2020 until December 1st at midnight, and you can get that whole course. It's usually $111 for only $22, and it's yours for life, which is awesome. I wanted to make sure that it was affordable, and also if you guys wanted different aspects to be included, I can create more content and put it in there. So like if there's some stuff that you would prefer it to be like more visual or auditory, because we all learn in different ways, I have that capacity to do that and give it to you guys at a super affordable price. This would be a great gift for people who are on a self-discovery journey or a spiritual journey in any way. And yeah, I go in depth with my story. A lot of very shameful and painful things that I've been through are told in video form in that course. So if you have been drawn to my channel or drawn to my Instagram based on the content that I've shared, I usually just share very higher level stories that are pretty applicable to everybody. I used to share more in-depth and more intimate and more vulnerable parts of my life, which I still do. I just don't feel like it is the direction that I want to go now that I'm kind of bringing in a baby into the world. So I want to make sure that I still create some boundaries around sharing a lot more of my personal and intimate life. So that's why if you want to know more about that, hello everyone, through my courses and through my coaching, I go really in depth into those stories. The second part about not going so deep into the stories is that like the whole point of spirituality is to let go of your stories. So it's kind of counterintuitive to always talk about my story and all that stuff, because I'm personally not attached to most of them. Like the ones that have happened more recently obviously still resonate with me at some level because they've recently happened, but personally I am pretty detached from everything that has happened in my life, and everything that will happen in the future. And that's really what I teach. Process of self-discovery is realizing who true you is, and you guys can kind of see more of that information in the course. So that is my plug for the entirety of the live Q&A. If you guys have any questions, now I'm totally free and open. That was the only thing that I wanted to cover personally. But we've got a little bit of time. Right now it's 1:11 and I'm looking at the clock right now. So anybody who is into the woo stuff know that seeing synchronicities mean that you are on the right path. So if you're on this live, you are meant to be here. And I'm so excited to share this space with you. And my kid, who's kicking me in the ribs right now. Hello, welcome. If you're just tuning in, please let me know where you're tuning in from. I know everybody's kind of displaced because of the holidays, or maybe you're staying at home and totally alone. So if you are, welcome. I'm so excited to share space with you. But yeah, I have nothing else really off the top of my head to talk about, but I'm here for any questions. Y'all can ask me about my pregnancy. You can ask me about my stories. This is the one place where I'll actually share it candidly and vulnerably in front of y'all. Hello, hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome. So nice to see you guys here. So I guess I'll just share a little bit more about my pregnancy since we have no questions coming up right now. But I am just about 33 weeks pregnant, which is crazy. I am extremely, like an extremely small human. I'm like 5'2", and I noticed that most of the weight that I've gained is like, you can see it kind of in my face. I like looked back at a couple of photos and like videos of myself at the beginning of my pregnancy, and people always used to tell me like how tiny I was, but I never really, like, I had a bit of body dysmorphia because I had like always growing up had a lot of just self-image issues, and so it was really hard for me to like understand what people were saying. But now looking back, I'm like, oh shit, like yeah, it was definitely super, super tiny. You can see I've gained a little bit of like water weight just like here in my chin area, and like I'm a little bit more rounder, which I love, honestly. I'm not at all embarrassed about it. But yeah, so 33 weeks. I've gained about 27 pounds. My kid is about 4 pounds now, and it's been really hard to sleep. So that's been fun. I'm a pretty heavy sleeper usually, and the last couple of nights have not been good. But I had coffee this morning, so that's why I'm so perked up. It also fucked up my stomach, so don't recommend. Personally, I don't really like drinking coffee, but we had a family moment this morning and I didn't want a FOMO. So I had some coffee with my sister and her boyfriend before they left back for Austin. I'm personally going back to Austin next Tuesday just because I have my very last birthing class with my very first yoga teacher, actually. That's what I'll talk about. I think that there have been a lot of people who have been asking me about my birth plan and choices and all that stuff. So if you guys are curious about that, I guess I can share that. Do I practice transcendental meditation? Like out of body meditation? Was that what you're talking about? That was a question that I just received, by the way. So I have practiced a couple different modalities of meditation. The one that resonated with me the most is Vipassana. And lately, I've been implementing a lot of like Dr. Joe Dispenza, his meditations. So he's got one called like the Blessings of the Energy Center. Deeper rest and sleep. Were you talking about like yoga nidra? Very, because Yoga Nidra is very similar to how Vipassana is taught as well. Yeah. Like, is it very body? I actually don't know. I can't honestly answer that question because I'm not 100% sure what the technique is. But if I'm understanding your question correctly, what's that noise? Probably my laptop. My phone is just sitting on top of my laptop. So I've got my laptop and then my phone in front of it, and I have like my webcam going. You guys must not be able to hear me. Okay, well, I'm sorry about that. I'm speaking as loudly as I possibly can over here. So it must be just because it is sitting on top of my laptop. Give me 1 second. Uno momento, por favor. Yeah, I don't know why my laptop is so loud, but maybe this will help, hopefully. I don't know. If you can't hear me, I will try to speak up a little bit louder. I also have even when I was teaching yoga classes, I had to really project a lot louder because I'm pretty soft-spoken. That's actually why I wear this aquamarine around my throat chakra, because it helps to activate the throat chakra. I've always had some trouble really projecting how I feel and saying what's on my mind and speaking my truth. So that is, yay, I'm so glad. Awesome. So glad. So yeah, as far as transcendental meditation, I personally don't know what that is, but I do practice Vipassana, do nothing meditation, which is literally just like sitting and watching the thoughts, not doing anything about it. And then also a couple of the techniques that Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches in his book, Becoming Supernatural. I've just finished that. He teaches like probably 4 or 5 different types of meditation. But honestly, it doesn't really matter what kind of meditation that you use as long as you practice. I truly believe that, like, I have been on the spiritual path since 2010. That was the very first time I took a yoga class ever. And I think it was maybe up until like 2 or 3 years ago where I just practiced yoga pretty regularly, but I was still so like averse to and resistant to meditation. So my practices, I still had a lot of self-sabotage, and I still had a lot of moments where I was just like, what the fuck is wrong with me? But until I started implementing a meditation practice, I first started with like guided meditations on YouTube. That's when I really started seeing a lot of change within myself, because I was able to really drop down and sit with myself. Because a lot of the times people get involved with yoga or a movement practice, which is amazing, but it's still a way to like externalize their issues. So like they would use it as a form of just trying to distract their self from mind. And it's just super important for you to not distract yourself from your mind. So yoga teacher _TM says transcendental meditation is the most researched method of meditation by the Institute of Brain in Switzerland since 1972. I did not know that. That's awesome. Very, very cool. I truly believe that, like I said, if you find a meditation that works for you, do it. There's so many different kinds of meditation, different techniques, and highly recommend doing it if you haven't implemented one. If you guys have never meditated before and you're looking for a very, very basic guided meditation, I actually have guided meditation On my website. Let me just put it here in the chat so that you guys can download it, but it's a very simple meditation that is only 10 minutes long. And if you go there, it'll sign you up, and let me type this up here for my YouTubers as well. So yeah, if you go to www.namasteme.com/free meditation, it'll take you to a landing page where you can sign up to receive and download a 10-minute meditation. The technique is called Anapana, so it's really just focused on the breath for 10 minutes. You just focus your breath here on your nose area and really bring awareness to, hello, welcome, to your nose. And by doing that, you start to, as you start to hyper-focus that awareness on this area of your nose, you start to bring a lot more sensitivity to the energy field of your body. So in Vipassana, they teach this in the first couple of days. And it's really, I noticed the difference when I was practicing this and then not practicing. I wasn't able to feel the sensations in my body as much when I wasn't practicing. So this is a good segue into becoming more aware of the body, the energy body actually. And in Vipassana, they talk a lot about how the body holds on to sankharas, which is basically trauma. It holds trauma. And when you start to bring awareness to the sankharas, you also remember that everything is impermanent and that everything will pass. So you'll bring your awareness to your nose, and then the rest of the Vipassana is really it's a body scanning kind of technique, which is really cool. 29 Hollywood stars about transcendental meditation on YouTube. Oh, 20. Cool. Yeah, definitely will check it out. For all of you guys who are on YouTube, yoga teacher _TM just said, look up 20 Hollywood stars about transcendental meditation on YouTube if you guys want to learn more about transcendental meditation. I'll do that after this live. I appreciate that feedback. But yeah, highly recommend it. I'm actually doing, for my birthing class, I'm doing a hypnobirthing class, and it's very meditation and hypnosis focused. So yeah, for my birth plan, I plan on having no drugs. I plan on giving birth at a birthing center and giving birth in water. So having a bathtub and being in warm water, and having hypnosis and meditation music on, and just kind of letting the kid come in. And I don't know what else is on the birthing plan, but if you guys are planning on having kids and have no idea what the fuck you're doing at all, a lot of people that I've met have just gone the regular Western medicine way, which is to find an OBGYN and then go to the hospital to give birth and then just do whatever they tell you to do. You can go to, you can look up these different techniques through hypnobirthing, where they teach you that there's a completely different way to give birth. I really urge you guys to, if you are going to start thinking about having a family, to look up what side effects there are for having an induced labor, having an anesthesia, having drugs, like whenever you give birth, like a lot of people will get the anesthesia. I don't even remember what it's called. The epi something, where they like stick you in the back with like a really long needle and they like make you numb from the bottom down. Yeah, so like everything that you put into your body, you share with your baby, right? So like that's like the first thing that's going to be in your baby's system. If you give them anesthesia, they're going to be drugged up as well, which is why I personally did not want to go that route. I had an OBGYN at the very beginning who was a male, and I didn't want to have any sort of interventions. Like I wanted to birth naturally because I personally have been through a lot of trauma with drugs and all this stuff. I've had I'm excited to read this. Okay, so I had 3 different birth plans and all of my children have very different temperaments and they match how the birth went. Ooh, please share. I would love to know how each one of those births went because that's what we're talking about right now. Were you able to, when you had, those birth plans, did they go according to plan or were they kind of like you had a plan and then you were just kind of like, but whatever happens, happens? Because I would love to know. Because I personally started at an OB and then I really did not like the way that he was speaking about how he was how he advocated. He basically told me, like, once I step into the hospital, he's the only advocate for the baby. And then immediately my brain was like, but you're literally never gonna ever going to experience giving birth. So like, how can I trust what you're saying? So I actually changed OBs to, instead of having an OB, I changed to a midwifery. So I have a team of a bunch of women and they're all like colored women who have had kids before. And the doctor that oversees the midwifery is also a woman, and it's a lot more supportive. So interesting. My oldest was very traumatic. It didn't go as planned. He was very shy and had many tantrums as a baby. And is very melancholy. So I'm curious to know if your oldest, was he born in the hospital? Like, did you have to have a C-section? Like, what did that birth kind of look like? I am so fascinated by different births because I truly believe that, the same thing that you said, like the baby becomes the personality of how they were kind of brought into this world, right? Along with their astrological charts. So very, very curious to know if you feel like sharing. If you don't feel like sharing, don't feel like you have to. I know it's a very vulnerable and personal and intimate topic. So I would love to know. So natural birth in a hospital setting. Okay. I'm also curious to know if they, like how it was to really like push for a natural birth, because I know that based on what my OB said, he was like, if you walk into a hospital and like your baby is, not dropped down, like we're gonna induce you, we're gonna attach you to a fetal monitor, emergency epidural because of preeclampsia. Okay. So did they have to induce you as well? So preeclampsia is basically, I honestly don't know what preeclampsia is, but I know that it like one of the symptoms is like you swell really badly, basically, like in your fingers, your feet, and then your face. But I don't really know what the actual underlying cause of that is. I'm wondering. That's so interesting to me. So in my hypnobirthing class, they talk about this where they say that there are more babies that they say are at risk in the hospital just to get the baby out than natural risks or natural here, let me just do this really quick. Thank you for that feedback about the video. Hopefully that's a little bit better so that you can see my face. I'm using my my laptop as kind of the prop for this so I can look in one direction. High blood pressure. Yeah, that makes sense. I wonder what your state was as well, like during labor, because in the hypnobirthing class that I'm taking, it's very focused on creating a chill environment for mom leading up to labor. And a lot of moms just like naturally, when labor starts happening, they go into fear mode. So when you're in fear, your blood pressure rises. And if you already have like a family history of having high blood pressure, you're more susceptible to preeclampsia. So yeah, that's a big reason why I actually chose hypnobirthing. And I think there was another question here. I don't think you're planning to keep your future child ability to swim. I don't know what that means. Oh yes, so yeah, being super stressed out with too many people. It seems like that's like a big thing. Just like really having like a chill environment where you only the people that you want in the room are in the room. Otherwise, and like this is a big reason why I don't want to give birth at a hospital. So I actually am the first woman in my whole entire family that's not a nurse. So I grew up around nurses and in and around hospitals, and I don't agree with the way Western medicine is facilitated. I think that they are very fear-based, and they create a lot of fear in people's minds that don't need to be there, which is a big reason why I went into holistic healing, and I'm a yoga teacher and teach meditation and teach subconscious reprogramming for pain and fear to be removed from your mind and body, because we live in a world where it's just like they pump fear and stress into us at all times, and like our amygdalas are always turned on at all times, and it's like not the way that it's supposed to work. It's really backwards right now. So yeah, I can definitely imagine how stressful that would be as a first-time mom. Just kind of just trying to figure it all out and stuff. I know a lot of first-time moms really just like go the regular way, which is to go through a hospital with a doctor who is usually a man, who's not usually even there during the actual delivery. Yeah, I didn't want that for myself. I think because I was very informed about everything beforehand. It was very interesting. My second came early, but had a calm, peaceful birth. Had to help deliver. We were in the room with a birthing specialist. He's very calm and has high emotional intelligence. I love that. I wonder, were you at a hospital as well, or were you at a home or at a birthing center? I'm curious to know, because I'm planning on giving birth at a birthing center. I'm trying to avoid the hospital as much as possible because, like I said, I do not trust the hospital system at all. Literally everyone in my family is in Western medicine. I'm the first woman not in Western medicine. I actually graduated with like a math and computer science degree. So, and now I'm, like a spiritual coach, which is hilarious. But, we all kind of have our trajectories. So yoga teacher _TM says a child can swim immediately after birth and then begin to forget. Yeah, so there is a show on Netflix called Babies, and they do a lot of research on how babies are actually able to like crawl already and swim because they're floating around in an amniotic sac for 9 months. And that's also why, like, when you give birth and then they put the baby on your skin for skin to skin contact, they can crawl and like place themselves on the nipple so that they can latch for the first time. But like the baby actually is born with the ability to swim and to crawl. It's just gravity kind of helps it, like makes them forget, but like subconsciously they already know how to like move their limbs to move. And in that Netflix show, they prove that babies already have the motor skills to propel themselves forward. The only thing that stops them from doing that is gravity, because their heads weigh so much more than their bodies. So like that's why their head, like they always say, like when you have a baby, you have to protect their head. It's because it's so heavy. And like the tops of their head hasn't fully formed. They have like a soft spot here, and then their necks are very, very fragile. Birthing center attached to a hospital. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. That's so, so cool. I am actually, the birthing center that I'm going to give birth at is right across from the hospital as well. So just in case anything happens, I don't want to be like so far away from the hospital if a cesarean is necessary, but I highly recommend, if you guys have never had a kid, look into a birthing center, because it's a good happy medium. And typically it's, you know, with women instead of having an OB who's a man, which, with nothing against men, I'm sure they're super knowledgeable, but like I truly believe that wisdom comes from experience and not from just like studying a book and studying people. Let's see. Headstand and walk. Oh yeah, no, definitely agree with you about how it's important and very good for the child to start developing their muscles. I was just talking with my family yesterday while we were taking a really long walk about how I started watching kids when I was like 10 years old. And now the kids that I was watching when I was 10, they're all adults. They're all like graduating college, and like, it's great. And I'm only 28, so it's so wild. And I've watched about 40 kids in my lifetime. And then on top of that, I'm also the oldest child on both sides of my family. So I'm the first one born as an American, first American born, and also I'm bringing in the first child of the new generation. So it's been really cool to see. And I highly recommend, you know, what you said, to kind of get them used to the water as early as possible, because swimming really does activate all of the muscles, which I wish my parents would have taught me a lot earlier, because I'm actually a pretty poor swimmer. I've gotten much better since living in Austin, because Austin is very filled with a lot of water, and I like to paddleboard and all that stuff. So I totally agree with you. Jenna says, my third was premature and she fought very hard to enter the world. She has lots of willpower and a big attitude. She lets the world know she is in the room. I love that. I wonder what her birth date and birth time is too, because I'm sure that has a little bit to do with it as well. And how premature was she? Because I personally was born a week late, my mom said. She was born in a birthing center and we were able to stay calm and trusted the people around me. Yes, the environment is so crucial. Like, what we learn in hypnobirthing is that every single person who is in the room is your stage manager. Like, they need to make sure that everything is the way that you want it, because mama knows how this baby wants. Like, you are constantly communicating to your baby. Like, your baby is telling you exactly what they want, exactly what they need. And if there's anything that's off, like, then the baby doesn't feel safe whenever they first, you know, come earthside. So I think that that's super important. And I'm so glad that you were able to have those experiences for both your second and your third baby. And 34 weeks is very early. That's 6 weeks earlier than the due date. Wow, that's amazing. Beautiful music, dim lights, meditation, and breathing. That's pretty much exactly what hypnobirthing is. I'm so glad. And so for all of you guys who are just tuning in right now, it is so beautiful for me to hear about mamas who created a very safe and secure a safe and secure environment for their babies to be born into, because it truly does affect the baby for the rest of its life. And also, the first 0 to 3 years of the baby's life as well is 0 to 7. That's when they're in theta state and just absorbing everything. But like when they first, kind of come into the earth, it's really important that there is a very, please stop. Thank you. That it's a very calm environment for the baby to come into. So thank you so much for sharing your birthing story about all of your babies. That makes me feel so good about being informed with my own. I have 2 friends who are pregnant alongside me. My best friend, she's like 4 weeks behind me. She's also doing a birthing center, and she and I have been researching very natural births since day one, pretty much. So I feel really lucky that I have gotten the chance to do that with her. And then I have another friend who's about 5 months behind me. And I feel like she's probably going to be one of those who go the regular route, because I know she is a little bit more fear-based than most of my friends. But, every single baby is born into the world the way that they're meant to be. And I think that no matter what the birth looks like, it's very beautiful. But I will say that there is a lot of fear around birthing that people project onto each other. Like, I remember when I announced my pregnancy, like there was so much unsolicited advice about like birthing and pregnancy and like how to raise my baby. And I'm like, I'm just gonna cover my ears, put my blinders on, and like the best advice that I can give is listen and hear, because and if there's any fear in here as well, then that it's not the truth. If there's any fear ever, there's always ego behind it. So just like I teach in my spiritual coaching, act out of love, not out of fear, and you'll always be led onto the right path. Hello, everyone. We have about 15 more minutes where I'm hanging out with you. It just started raining really hard. So if you guys have any questions about pregnancy or spirituality, I did share a little bit more about the coaching program. Oh, I didn't really share about sacred and divine goddesses. Yes, Jenna says, follow your intuition. You will know your baby best. I 100% agree. Like, I talk to my baby every day. I make sure that I'm eating what he likes, and everything that I do is very much like a collaborative effort from both of us. So I highly, highly recommend following your intuition and listening to your baby if you guys are pregnant. So important. But yeah, so earlier I shared the brand new brand new course. It's not a coaching program, but it is a course that is super cheap right now. It's typically $111, which was the feedback that I received from everyone last week when I did a Q&A, when I was trying to kind of like formulate the program. I actually finished it and put it out today. If you go to selfdiscovery.school, you can go to the courses that are offered. And if you choose the course that's called Embrace the Journey of Being You, and just type in this code Black Friday 2020, all caps, no spaces, you can get that course for $22. And it's a course that you can use for the rest of your life. You have lifetime access. And if you get in on it now and you want to see more content, I have the ability to add more meditations, more yoga, all that stuff. And it gives you access to that free Facebook group as well, where I have put a lot of yoga videos, and I have a collaborative effort with a bunch of different yoga teacher friends teaching on that platform as well. So you have a lot of mixed yoga classes that you can choose from as well. And it was a lot of those classes are from me pre-pregnancy as well. So there's a lot more movement. Right now it's a little bit harder for me to move. I'm about 30 3 weeks, which is so crazy, Jenna. Oh my gosh, I can't believe like you had your third baby at like a week from now where I am. I like can't even imagine, honestly. Like he is so chill. Like I personally feel like he's probably gonna stay in there a little bit longer. I stayed a little bit longer in my mom's belly. My mom had to be induced with me because I was a week late, and she said that I inhaled simiconium on the way out. So they actually they put me skin to skin for like 15 minutes, and then I was in the NICU for like 2 weeks after that, and that gave my mom really bad post what's it called, postpartum PPD, postpartum depression. It was on Thanksgiving. I had dinner in the oven when your water broke. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. Literally, your baby's like, I have no space. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. That's so funny. I love that. Your baby definitely knew. How lovely. I love to hear that. Also, if you guys want to learn a little bit more about the Sacred and Divine Goddess program, I have basically the program is like helping you to turn your past pain into creating the dream life that you want. And it is so packed, like more so than the course that I was just sharing with you. Hello, welcome. And if you want to know more about it, I recommend you going through the masterclass first, because I give you my 5 best tips on how to do that, which is just in the link in my bio on my Instagram. If you are on YouTube watching this, you can just go to namasteme.com/masterclass, and it'll take you to a YouTube video that's unlisted that is about 27 minutes long. And then from there, you can fill out an application if you feel like you are a good fit. And then we'll hop on a free introduction call where we can kind of connect and drop in and get to know each other a little bit better. But I have put so much work into all of this. I put a lot of my NLP and hypnotherapy techniques in there. This week, I'm recording a lot more hypnotherapy MP3s or audios, as well as some movement. I'm gonna probably have to redo the videos for the movement for after the baby comes out and my body is kind of back to normal, because there's a lot of things that I can't do right now, which is obviously like laying on my tummy. But if you guys are interested, that is available for you. And if you're not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, you definitely should. I post a coaching video on there every single week on Tuesday. And if you download the free meditation, which is pinned down below on Instagram, and I posted it in the comments on the live chat on YouTube, you all automatically get the free Monday newsletter that I send out every Monday. And there's always like very juicy coaching content that you don't get on Instagram. All of my content is totally different and like on the fly. So I'm pumping out as much content as I possibly can until this baby decides to come. And if you guys are following along my pregnancy, I have been referring to my baby as Baby G. And next Saturday, I have my baby shower. And so after my baby shower, I will announce the name publicly, which I'm super excited about as well. So if you guys have been waiting to find out what his name is, I will be sharing that next week. So I've got about 10 more minutes left, and would love to answer any of your questions. If you want to be more involved in my pregnancy or want to like donate to our fund, because the baby daddy is definitely not in the picture and I'm having to pay for pretty much everything out of pocket myself, you can, if you want to, kindly donate to @Namaste Me on Venmo. And all the money goes towards the birthing center that I'm going to give birth at, as well as any medical costs that come along with it. So don't feel like you have to, but I thought that I would just share that with you guys. So I've got about 10 more minutes to answer any of you guys' questions. And if there's nothing else, I do this every Friday at 1 p.m. Central Time. So make sure that you set a calendar for it, because I love to answer your questions and just chill and hang out. And this is my gift to you guys so that you can pick my brain. There's a lot of Kool-Aid in here. What is my nationality? Well, I am American, so my nationality is American, but my ethnicity is Filipino. And I am fully Filipino. I have a little bit of Spanish and Chinese, like very little. My last name is Vista, which is Spanish. I believe I'm like quarter Spanish and an eighth Chinese. But otherwise, very, very Filipino. I shared earlier that I'm the first American born in my whole entire family. So that's why you don't hear an accent. I do understand everything that my family says. So they don't speak Tagalog, but they speak this other dialect called Visayan. And yeah, I think it's super important also, if you guys have kids, to teach them a foreign language when they're younger, even if they don't use it for the rest of their lives, because it actually activates a different part of their brain so that it's easier for them to learn other foreign languages in the future. For instance, because I was the firstborn, obviously my family talked to me more in our dialect. So I grew up with English as my second language. And then as I went through school, I lost my ability to speak it back. I still can understand what they're saying. But I ended up taking French 1 through French 4 in high school. And then I took French 1 through French 3 again in college. And because of that, I can understand and speak French pretty quickly. I went to France last year and was able to converse with people in French. And then also, because it's a Romance language, all of the languages kind of connect together. So I was also able to learn Spanish very easily. So if you guys are a parent with young kids, I highly recommend teaching them a different language where they're immersed in it. So there are a lot of Spanish immersion schools, French immersion schools, but just learning a different language other than English, literally, it turns their brain on in a different way. It also allows them to be a lot more creative, because I'm pretty sure that the right brain is more creative focused, and that's where it turns on. And the left brain is logical. It might be the reverse. Don't quote me on that, but highly recommend that. Just as a nanny and a caregiver, because I've seen a lot of kids who had trouble learning, a required foreign language. Like my sister, for instance, I grew up being able to understand my family. And my sister did not. She literally, my family will speak in our native tongue during family gatherings, and she's like, I don't know what you're saying, at all. And when we went to France together, she was like, I have no idea what the fuck anybody is saying. So it definitely works. But yeah, I am starting to get a little bit nauseous, to be totally honest. And I think I'm probably going to end a little bit earlier, but I am so happy that I got to spend this time with you guys. And I hope that we get to spend a little bit more time together next week. The next one will be December 4th at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, US, because I live in Texas. And feel free to subscribe to the YouTube. This will go both on the YouTube and on my IG, on the IGTV, but it won't go on my feed, so you have to look for it. Excuse me. There's so much heartburn. Third trimester is definitely not my favorite. Definitely not my favorite. So, yeah, I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. I always like to close the space with a couple of deep breaths. So let's go ahead and do that, because I could definitely use it. Let's sit up nice and tall. Ground your tailbone down underneath you. Allow each vertebrae of your spine to stack on top of the other. Bring conscious awareness to each vertebrae, moving from bottom to top. Roll those shoulders away from the ears. Allow your chin to be neutral. You can lightly part your lips, remove the tongue off the roof of the mouth. And we'll take 3 deep belly breaths to close the space together, inhaling through the nose. And exhale out of the mouth. Inhale again through the nose. Exhale out. Last big breath in. Exhale out. The light and the love within me honors and loves the light and the love within each of you. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I will see you next week. Bye, y'all. Bye-bye, Tube.